Retired Colonel Rich Outzen is a senior fellow at the Atlantic Council and the Jamestown Foundation. Colonel Outzen is joining us live from Washington, D.C. Rich Outzen, good to see you and welcome. It looks like the Hamas leader is on a diplomacy spree. First, he was in Egypt, then he was in Doha, and now he spent his weekend in Turkey. What does that tell you, especially the countries that Ismail Haniyeh chose to visit?
Well, Eric, it's good to be with you. I think Haniyeh is pursuing at the political level what Hamas has failed to achieve at the military level, which is to force a cease to the Israeli operations or to gain some political outcome favorable to Hamas as a result of the intervention of big powers like Egypt and Turkey. For Turkey, this is part of the style of diplomacy that President Erdogan and his team have long followed. They talk to people that the West would sometimes rather not have them talk to. Erdogan will meet with Putin. He's met with the Iranians. He'll meet with Haniyeh. Now, to the Turks, they have a vested interest in a peaceable resolution of this, a special relationship with the Palestinians, a concern for the Palestinians. But as you say, also they would like to magnify their own role as a regional mediator and problem solver.
President Erdogan says that Turkey continues its diplomatic efforts for a permanent ceasefire as well as the establishment of an independent state of Palestine. But in real sense, why does that establishment feel or even seem like a far cry? Well,
if it was easy to have a two-state solution, then probably the efforts of the 1990s and even under the period of the President Bush 43 administration, when there were real efforts at a roadmap, or during President Obama's time, when there was a lot of political will in Europe and the United States, and some peace negotiations on both sides between the Israelis and the Palestinians, people on both sides who sort of wanted to make this work, it would have worked then. The problem is that, especially when it comes to Hamas, there are just some irreducible barriers. And one of them is that Hamas has yet to fully accept Israel's legitimacy as a state and even say that they want the 1967 borders. There's a failed unity effort. So there have been several unity efforts, in fact, between the Palestinian Authority run by Fatah and related movements and Hamas on the other side. So it's hard to see how a peace agreement can be held on the Palestinian side because it's still very much splintered. And as far as the Israeli side goes, sort of the peace constituency on the left has been getting smaller and smaller as the decades go by.
Colonel Outzen, there's a lot of hue and cry following the passing of the $95 billion military package by Congress in the U.S. Hamas leadership says that it will enhance the IDF to commit more atrocities in Gaza. Your reaction?
Well, the use of the word atrocities is interesting. And I noticed in the lead into the story, we referenced the beginning of Israeli operations on October 7th. Let's not forget the atrocities on the side of Hamas that prompted that. If you're Israel, you have a duty to protect your own citizens first and foremost. Any state does. So if we are talking about leaving Hamas's military structure intact in Rafah by having a ceasefire now, you can favor that or not favor it, but certainly you can understand the Israelis saying, no, we won't do that. Leaving Hamas in control of the Gaza Strip and its military forces intact simply means that you set the stage for another such attack in future. So yes, I have some problems as well with the civilian deaths and the suffering of the Palestinian people, which needs to end. But does it end before Hamas has been removed from the status of a threat to the Israeli people? That's a question I can't answer for them.
All right. I've been talking to retired Colonel Rich Outzen, who's a senior fellow at the Atlantic Council and the Jamestown Foundation. Colonel Rich, as always, thank you very much for talking to us today.
Thank you, Eric.
For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.